and we are just exploring what are all the options we have within a subscription. And after creating a subscription, how we can grant the permissions to the users. Okay, those things okay we are exploring. And we have till now we have discussed some of the details, like what is activity log, okay, how we can grant the permissions to the users, what is meant by tags, what are the common issues that we can make and that we can come across, and how we can perform the cost analysis. Okay, till here I think okay we discussed yesterday, right? So let us quickly discuss remaining topics for today. And we'll once we're done with this, okay, we'll also start with a new topic as well. So under billing, if you see, okay, so I can also generate the billing information, complete invoices of any specific subscription. Okay, so here from here, okay, I can download, okay, I can get it invoices by email also. And okay, and if you see the external services, okay, at this moment I am not using any external services for generating an invoice. And if you go to the payment method, okay, here okay, you will be able to see what type of credit card or debit card which you have used for creating this particular account. And if you go to the partner information, this is something like Microsoft will be having certain few of the partners. Okay, if you see some companies like some Tech Mahindra, some new Mindray, okay, they say like we are the golden partner or like a silver partner with the Microsoft, right? Okay, so if you be a partner with the Microsoft, so you will be having some partner ID. Okay, so if you have a partner ID, okay, so you will be getting some discounts on your subscriptions, and for the certifications what your employees do. So that okay, that is some of the partner ID you will be getting. So this okay, you can just go through it later. And coming to the under settings, okay, here you could see some of the deployment status. Okay, what deployments okay we have performed under this particular subscription, and from the subscription blade itself, how many resource group I have in my subscription, right? How many resources I have in my subscription, everything I can have a look from here. And if you go to the preview features, so these are the preview features, okay, which is Microsoft is still performing some development activities. That means, so these are all the services, okay, they wanted to introduce new, and they are still in a development mode. Okay, and if you come to the usage and quota, so for every subscription, especially for the free trial subscription, okay, so we will be having certain quota. That means in a specific regions, okay, in a specific region, for example, this is the provider that is like a virtual network related providers. We cannot use more than that. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so if you wanted to increase the quota, okay, you have to request a service request to the Microsoft. Let us imagine, okay, I taken a subscription, and in my subscription, okay, let me open a notepad. Okay, so I have a subscription that is AZ May 2021. Let us imagine this is my development subscription. I'll say. So under this development subscription, I have a limitation or a quota just to create only 100 VMs by default. Let's imagine. Okay, I have a requirement to create more than 100 VMs in a single region. So in those scenarios, okay, you have to request to increase the quota. Okay, I'm just giving the example for the creating a VMs. Similarly, okay, here you could see many more services, right? Okay, like for example, network watcher is one of the service, okay, for the network monitoring. So this network monitoring, okay, we can have it, okay, one network watcher for a single region. It is, these are all applicable for the free trial accounts, but when you go with the enterprise subscriptions, okay, that might varies. Okay, so likewise, okay, here you could see many more. Okay, I'm in a page one. If I go to the next page, so here I could see some of the things, okay, so which are valid, like if you see uh, these are the images, something like we can have 1,000 images, okay, in a north US region. Okay, same way if I go to the next page, okay, here I could see some of the, these are the sizes of the virtual machines which we will discuss later. And for every region, okay, we are having only 4. So likewise, okay, you will be having quota. And whenever, okay, while you are creating some resources, okay, sometimes you might face a issue like saying that your quota has exceeded. You have to increase the quota. So that time you have to come here and you have to request for increasing the quota. Okay, that is majorly about users and quotas. And coming to the policies, this is also very important. Okay, when you discuss on a subscription level, okay, by default, okay, we can, organizations will create certain policies, okay, based on their, company standards and based on their, country regions. Okay, they will be having some GDPR compliances, right? Okay, global data protection compliances they might be having. So to achieve them, okay, so they will be assigning certain policies. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to assign certain policies, okay, here you can go to the assignments. Okay, so under this assignment, okay, here you could see if you wanted to assign some policy, you can just click on assign this policy. And from here, okay, so scope is always like a to which subscription or to which resource group, okay, so you wanted to assign this policy. Okay, scope is always like a kind of target. And you can say some of the basic, like, you can give the policy name. Okay, for now I'll say, like, storage reader, maybe, let's say. Yeah, so here, okay, I need to take the definition. So these are the some of the built-in policies. Okay, so if you see here, okay, we have, like, vulnerability assessment should be enabled on your Synapse workspace. Okay, Synapse is one of the, analytics tool in within Microsoft. So whenever you create a Synapse service, okay, so you have to, perform this particular vulnerability assessment, okay, for the security purpose. So this is the some kind of, policy that I can assign, so that, whenever you create this particular service, okay, by default, if you don't perform this particular assessment, Microsoft will keep you, sending an emails. Okay, so you have to perform an audit and a virtual machines without disaster recovered configured. That means, so whenever you create a VMs, okay, you must and should, create, enable the DR. DR is nothing but, okay, for the people, okay, who are pretty new. So disaster recovery means, if at all any disaster happens because of any earthquakes, because of any, due to any damage, we can, replicate our workloads to the nearby region. Okay, that is kind of a DR concept which we will discuss later. But okay, those kind of, some of the policies we can define it here. Okay, so let's see, do I have anything for the storage accounts? You see here. Okay, so here, okay, I'm keeping a, policy saying that, storage account should restrict a network access. Okay, or else, okay, storage account should restrict a network access using virtual network rules. Or do I have anything extra? Let's see. And should be private link. These are some of the technical terms. Okay, probably you might be getting confused at this moment. Okay, nothing to worry. Okay, as we progress, okay, so we will understand more. So for now, okay, let me see. I'll keep this one. Okay, so geo redundant storage should be enabled for the storage accounts. That means, okay, this is one of the redundant feature. Okay, so for now I'll just select it, but don't bother about what exactly it is. Okay, so while creating a storage account, okay, I should be enabling this particular additional feature. Geo redundant means, so whatever the data I store in my storage account, it will be stored in a two regions. Okay, maybe let us imagine east to US and west to US. Okay, by default, okay, that is a policy that I'm creating. Okay, and policy enforcement, okay, I'm just enabling this one, and it is assigned by this particular user. And let me go to the next. Okay, so this is for something like an audit. Okay, let's go with the next. And remediation. Okay, so, like, okay, I don't want any create any managed identity. Okay, this also we'll discuss later, don't worry at this moment. A non-compliance message, if you wanted to keep anything, you can keep. This is not a mandatory field at this moment here. And I can just click review and create. Let me click on create. Okay, so what kind of policies we can assign? Okay, let me quickly, discuss. For example, okay, here, okay, we are creating a resource groups, right? Before I go ahead and create any resources, okay, I can create a policy saying that, I have to create any resources within a east to east region only. Okay, so to achieve this, okay, I can define within a policies. So if you go to the portal, and if you, try to create any other resource, okay, apart from east to east, it will not allow you to create it. Okay, it will give you the error saying that, okay, so we have a policy, so that you should create the resource in a use case only. And next, okay, whenever we create a virtual missions, okay, as a best practice, okay, what are all we do? Okay, first, okay, we'll enable the monitoring. Okay, we'll, schedule the backup. Okay, so just, make sure that, if the VM is corrupted, so we need to have a backup item. okay, so that okay will not miss any data. So those kind of mandatory policies we can define. So that means whenever you create a VM, by default okay it will keep you post you like so you have to set up the monitoring, you have to set up the backup, all those stuff. So this mandatory fields okay we can define it in this particular policy. Okay, so if you see here, so currently okay, so I have one policy which is assigned and a storage account. Okay, so this is something like a geo redundant. Okay, so this is something like a, how we can assign if you wanted to have some definitions, like if you wanted to create a custom policy, you can do that as well. Okay, so these are like a built-in policy as you could see. Okay, so that definition type is initiative. So here okay initiative is nothing but these are like a built-in policies. Okay, if you wanted to create define one more policy, okay, you can policy definition you can go, and you can create a new one also. Okay, this is something like a custom policy. So probably I'll share this particular document with you guys. Okay, so this is something like Azure policy documentation. Try to go through this one in detail. Okay, if I go to the overview page, okay, it will give you the exactly what it is. Azure policy helps you to enforce organization standards and access compliance at a scale. Okay, so you can go through in detail step by step some of the Microsoft videos also. And under quick start, okay, how we can assign this policy. Just now we have done this one, create a policy assignment. Okay, you can navigate to the policy. Okay, from here we just navigated, right? Okay, assign policy, and we have created certain policy here. We have taken here as a storage account, and we have assigned it. And similarly, if you wanted to create a custom policy, okay, so Microsoft recommendation is okay, once you assign anything, once you create anything, okay, they will ask you to clean it up, because okay it will cost you again. Okay, for the cleanup again, if I wanted to clean up that particular policy, simply I can go to the policies again. So this is the policy which I have created, right? Okay, currently it is showing non-compliance, not that one. This is, it is not yet started. Okay, if I wanted to delete this one, I can go here and I can click on delete. Okay, so I can say okay delete assignment. So for now let me delete it for now. Same way, okay, so you can go to the tutorial tab. Okay, if you wanted to create any new policy, here you could see create a custom policy definition. Go here how we can create a custom policies. Okay, so here you can come down and you could see. Okay, so this is the some of the custom policy which has extra template. So probably I don't recommend you to go through this at this moment, because okay you should understand something like some of the properties of the resources, then and only you will be able to do it. But I'm just giving the path, okay, how we can navigate and how we can perform. Okay, this is pretty much about the policies. So let me come back, and you can see like in management certificates. Okay, if you are managing any certificates okay within Azure, okay, for your applications, okay, you can manage them from here, and you can also see what is our permissions here. Okay, so if you see your account okay has been assigned as a owner role. And if you go to the resource providers, this is one more thing okay which is very important. So if you see here, let me duplicate this window. So here I went into this particular all services, right? Okay, in the beginning, okay, so what Microsoft is providing, what type of services it is providing. Like if I go to the storage, so these are all the services okay Microsoft is providing. So these are all the services which are providing. But if you wanted to use these services, okay, for example I go to the some database. Okay, so on a database is okay, if I wanted to use this particular SQL database, this particular database should be registered under this particular resource provider on my subscription. This is separate specific to subscription. Okay, at this moment if you see here, okay, so this particular storage related services, okay, it is registered. Then okay I will be able to create the storage account related services. Okay, so if it is not registered, okay, Microsoft within the portal itself, okay, it will give you the error saying that you are not allowed to perform this action. For example, let me show you that for now. Okay, this particular storage account is at this moment registered, right? What I will do is I will just select this, and I will say unregister. please delete the existing resources for the provider. Okay, so at this moment, okay, we have some of the storage accounts, okay, which are already present in the subscription. So that is the reason it is saying that we cannot do this. Let me show you for the some of the resource like a key vault. Don't worry about this what is key vault. I'm just showing you like if at all, if at I wanted to perform this activity, how can I do this? And if you see, I'm just performing this unregistered of this particular service, that is key vault. Key vault is something like if you wanted to store your secrets or passwords or any certificates, we can store it in a key vault. Okay, it is kind of secure place. So once it is done, what I will do is I will go to the portal and I'll try to create any one of the key vault, and it should not allow me to create a key vault. Let me do refresh. And it might be let me search for it, Microsoft dot key vault, right? And if you see here, it is not registered. Let me go to the new tab and I will do a refresh, and I will type a key vault on the top. Okay, this is the key vault, is one of the service, and don't worry about it. Okay, we'll also discuss in detail later. And I'm just telling you, if the particular this particular provider service is not registered, you will be not allowed to create anything. So for now, I'll just give some random number here. Okay, so don't worry about all other options. Okay, let me click on review and create. This validation should must fail. Okay, but it should not allow me to create because this particular provider is not registered. Let's see, it is still doing validation. Okay, validation is passed. Let's see, let me try to create a keyword. Will it allow me or not? I think it is performing. Let's see. Sometimes what happens is, okay, so I'm in a different browsers, right? Earlier this browser might have some privileges. Okay, this will take some time to reflect the changes on a subscription level. So sometimes, okay, those type of challenges also we might face. So it is created now, so let me delete it first. Okay, so what I will do is, okay, so I'll perform under this browser. Let's see. I'll go to the same key vault. Ideally it should not allow me to create anything because, okay, I made it as a unregistered, right? Let's see this time. Let me choose any one of the resource group and I'll just type something. Let me review and create it here. Yeah, looks like, okay, it may take some time. Okay, so for applying those changes, but that is fine. But on a high level, okay, what I wanted to cover is like if you wanted to use any one of the services, okay, that service should be registered under this particular resource provider. If at all, if it is not registered, okay, you will be not allowed to do it. So let me register again. If you see here, it is showing as a registered. That is the reason I was able to do it. I think it is not done proper. Okay, Microsoft.key vault. Can you see? It is by default, it is registered. That is the reason I was able to perform. That is fine. So similarly, okay, you can see many more services, okay, which are not registered. Okay, if I come down, okay, you could see some of the services like analysis services. Okay, if you wanted to use any one of the analysis services, first you have to make a registration here. And in addition to that, okay, for example, if I go to additional things like some data box or data, if you wanted to use the data box related services, okay, you have to register them. If you wanted to use any NetApp storage related, okay, you have to register them. So likewise, okay, we have many more. Okay, this is pretty much about this resource provider. And if you go to the deployments, okay, under this deployment, okay, you should be able to see what are the deployments has performed. That means, okay, who has created what, everything, okay, via automation, not a manual. And if I come to the properties page, okay, here I will be able to see all the properties like a subscription ID, so subscription status, what is the billing period, when this particular subscription was created, and on which currency, what is the offer type, is a retail account, right? So everything, okay, who's that account admin, Okay, he's the guy who has created this particular subscription. That is the reason it is showing as an account admin. And for you also, if you have created a subscription, it will show you like account admin only. And a resource lock. So here, okay, so if you wanted to provide a certain security, okay, not to delete any other resources by somebody else, okay, we can keep a lock. Okay, I'm repeating again. So let us imagine, okay, so on my subscription, okay, I have certain resources. Okay, let's say I'll go to all resources, and if you see here, okay, this is one of the storage account, and under this storage account I have some important data. Okay, don't worry about what is storage account, all of the stuff, okay, we'll discuss later in detail. But I wanted to restrict the people, okay, for deleting this particular specific resource. Okay, if somebody has a contributor access, they can come and perform the deletion, but I wanted to restrict that. Okay, for that, okay, what I can do is I can keep a lock here. Okay, this lock feature will be present, okay, for each and every resource. Okay, that I can do it, okay, that I can manage directly from the subscription blade also. For example, if I click on add, and here, okay, I have two types of blocks. Okay, so this is also very important. Okay, just to have an attention here. I can keep a lock for the resources, and I can have two types of locks. One is like a read only, and one more is like a delete. So if I keep a read only, so even people have a owner access or a contributor access and a subscription, and so they can perform anything, right? But if I keep a read only lock, okay, they will be able to perform a read operations. They cannot modify, they cannot delete this particular storage account. Okay, so for example, at this moment, okay, I have a contributor access, right? So for example, if I go ahead and keep a read lock, and if I try to modify some things, like if I go to this particular containers, okay, let's say, okay, I'll go to the blob service, and if I try to create a new any one of the container, it will not allow me, because I'm assigning as a read only. Same way, if I keep it as a delete, okay, so let's say I'll say storage account delete. Maybe let me do this on a resource level. I'll go to the storage account, and in here I'll keep a lock. Okay, I'll add a lock, and this time I'll keep a delete lock. I'll say storage account delete. I'm not giving any notes. If you wanted to give some description, you can give, and let me click on OK. And if you see here, this particular lock is assigned. If you go ahead and do refresh here, you will be able to see the lock. And now if I go back to the overview page, and if I try to delete this particular storage account, it will not allow me to delete it. Okay, can you see, as soon as I click on particular delete a storage account, it is giving me some warning. Okay, cannot be deleted because this resource or its parent has a delete lock. Though I have a owner access on this particular subscription, since I had a lock on this subscription resource, okay, it will not allow me to perform any lock, I mean perform anything like a deletion. Same way, let me show you how we can keep a read lock. Okay, I'll go to the locks again, and I'll just delete it. And if I make sure, for example, since I'm keeping a lock, right? Okay, so I am only able to delete the lock again if anybody has the same owner access to the subscription, and if they wanted to delete this particular lock, it will not allow them. Okay, if I go here, and this time I will keep the read only lock. I'll say read only, and click on OK. Let's see what will happen by keeping a read only. Okay, so by keeping a read only, okay, what I'll go to the overview, and I'll try to create some additional container. Okay, so let's say I'll say test, and if I click on create, okay, it should give me the error because I'm having a read only lock here. You could see cannot perform a write operations because following scopes are locked. That means, okay, I have restricted them, okay, to perform any write operations. Okay, I just meant uh, kept a lock, okay, only to perform a read operations. That is kind of a lock feature. Okay, we can utilize, okay, if you wanted to secure some of the resources. Okay, let me delete it for now. And if you see here, okay, from here, okay, yeah, I'm able to delete. Yeah, so this is something about resource lock. Remember it. Once again, I'm repeating. So here we have two types of locks. One is delete lock, another one is a read only lock. And at the last, okay, we have something like support and troubleshooting. So this is very important. So whenever okay, you are working and if you are facing some issues, what we can do is okay, we can directly create a support request with a Microsoft. That means okay, for example, okay, if I'm working with a storage account related services and I'm getting some error, okay, maybe let's say I'm working with a VM. Okay, so this is my VMs. Okay, so I'm working with it and I'm facing some issue. Okay, and if it is not working well, okay, I can go to this particular new support request. At the end, for every resource, okay, you have this particular option. So we can raise a support request with a Microsoft. Okay, so here you could say create a support request. And when you go with the create a support request, okay, so they will ask you some basic details about this particular resource. Okay, they will ask you to create some description. I'll say, not able to connect. That means, okay, after creating the VM, I'm not able to connect to the VM. And you can see the problem type also here. They will give certain, solutions before you go ahead and create the support request. Okay, here you could see your free trial subscription is not eligible for the quota increase. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'll keep the cannot connect to the VM. Okay, okay, they will give some stopping and a deallocation. Let me go to the solution. And the next tab, okay, they will provide some solutions. Even though if it is not working, okay, we can go to the next details. Okay, they're telling that okay, this VM is not running at this moment. Yes, it is correct. So let's go to the details. And here, okay, we can directly chat with them or else. Okay, so we can see this particular upgrade support plans. So this is very important. So when you go with a free trial account or when you onboard a subscription, by default you will get a basic support plan. So these are the different support plans okay that we have. Okay, like developer, standard, and professional direct. So let's see what are the differences here. Okay, so first thing is the pricing. Okay, so basic one will be like a free, and when you go with the developer support plan, okay, it will be costing you like $29 per month. And when you go with the standard support plan, you will be charged with $100 per month. And when you go with the professional direct, okay, Microsoft will be charging you some almost like $1,000 per month. Okay, so let's see the differences here. So this particular basic is for the support only online help, self help. Okay, it is only for the billing and subscription support. They don't give any support for the resources like a VM or storage accounts because this is a free trial one. And when you go with a developer, okay, they will give the support for the trial and non-production environments. That means okay, developer support plan is only for the development and non-production environments only. They don't give production support. That is the developer plan. And coming to the standard is for the production workloads environment only. Okay, if you have a non-prod subscription and if you wanted to go to the standard, okay, it is not recommended. You have to go with the only developer. If it is a production subscription, you need to upgrade to the standard support plan. And if it is a professional direct, this is also business critical dependencies. Like let us imagine you have an application which is like a business critical, and whereas if you get any errors, it should be resolved within like less than an hour. So for that scenarios, okay, you can go with a professional direct, and this one will be costing you almost $1,000 per month. And let's see some other additional advantages here, like customer service and communities. Here you could see okay, they will provide you the support and a 24% level customer service, documentation, and support forums also. And some of the best practices, okay, they will also give you the access for the Azure advisory recommendations. We have seen, right, Azure advisory recommendations here. Yeah, so this is advisory recommendations, okay, they will provide you as part of this particular support plans even for the free trial accounts. And health status and notifications, okay, here okay, we are facing some notifications, right? So whenever any reason is down or whenever any service is not working, so Microsoft will give you the notifications also. So this is what okay, it is supported for the all this support plans. And if coming to this technical support, okay, for free trial, okay, we don't have any technical support. And coming here, so it is only for the business hours. That means okay, for example, like if your working hours is morning 9 to evening 6, okay, they will provide you the support only under this particular business hours in case of developer. And like it is only support via email, not with a call. But when you go with the standard, okay, they will give you the 24/7 support. Same with the professional direct. And who can open a cases? Unlimited contacts, unlimited cases for all. That means anybody can raise a case. For example, okay, I'm an employee of an organization, and if I have an access to the subscription, I can raise a request. It doesn't mean that only my manager has to create a support request, or only my lead has to create a support request. Anybody can do it. And the third party software support also, okay, it will provide, okay, if you are using any third party tools. In addition to that, okay, this is something like a SLA related. Okay, how quickly, okay, they will respond. Okay, when you go with developer, if it is like a CVRTC, that is we might be like say like CVRT A, CVRT B, and CVRT C, or maybe CVRT 1, 2, 3. Okay, different organization call it a different ways. So if it is a CVRTC issue, okay, they will resolve it, okay, within less than 8 hours. Okay, when you go with the developer plan. When you go with the standard one, it is for the production workloads. And you could see here, CVRTA, they will resolve within less than 1 hour. This is the SLA. Okay, they have to do it. Otherwise, okay, Microsoft has to pay the penalty for the whatever the loss, business loss. And if it is a CVRTB, okay, you have to resolve it within 4 hours. And if it is a CVRTC, you have to resolve it in less than 8 hours. But when you go with a professional direct, that is like a business critical dependencies. Okay, for the CVRTC here, you could see Microsoft has to resolve the issues less than 4 hours. Same as with the CVRTB within 2 hours, CVRTA with less than 1 hour. Okay, this is the advantage when you go with the professional direct. Okay, you will get the immediate response. And here, uh, architecture kind of support. Okay, it is kind of a general guidance for the both developer and standard. But whereas when you go with the professional direct, so they will give you certain guidance based on the best practices. Okay, like onboarding the services, Azure engineering and Pro Direct Delivery Manager, everything. Okay, they will take they will take her in and out. Okay, when you go with the professional direct support, like in terms of training, in terms of proactive guidance, okay, to your employees, okay, everything they will take care. So that is kind of additional feature you will get, and this is the last as a pricing. Okay, even in your enterprises also, within your organization also. So by default, whenever you create a subscription, default you will get a developer support plan. So if you wanted to have a more support, you have to either migrate to standard or a professional direct. And make sure, okay, if you wanted to migrate to the standard, that subscription should be production subscription. If it is not a production subscription, it is waste of cost again. And you cannot just like that do it. You need a approvals from your management, because you are paying extra cost, right, to the Microsoft. For that, okay, you need to discuss with your management, and you have to get the approvals, and then only you will be able to upgrade it. You cannot just like that go ahead and upgrade it, right? So this is something like more about support plans. Okay, here you could say support and troubleshoot any issues. Okay, we can raise a request to the Microsoft, so that they will help you out based on the support plan what you have for your subscriptions, right? So this is pretty much okay what we have on a subscription level. Okay, what we have discussed. Okay, so if at all, if you get any subscription, new subscription, and now you are familiar with what are the activities that you can perform on a subscription level, right? So like granting a permission to the user, checking for the activity logs, and it's managing the cost management, and performing some seeing some quota, and see how many resources groups I have in my subscriptions, and what are the policies which are assigned, and some other log features and support requests, right? So this is pretty much about the subscriptions, okay, on a Azure portal. So now let's move on to the next topic. Okay, we have another 20 minutes here. So now let's start with the deployment models. Like in how many ways, okay, we can create the resources in Azure portal, right? So for example, here if I wanted to create some resources, okay, I wanted some resources like I wanted to create a VMs, or I wanted to create some network components, I wanted to create some storage components. In how many ways I can do it? Okay, let's quickly discuss it. Okay, so let me remove this. Somebody speak. Thanks. Yeah, Karthik, you want to speak something? Okay. If you're not speaking, please try to be unmute. Thanks. So, if at all, if I wanted to create any resources in a portal in Azure, okay, how many ways I can do it? Let's see now. So we can do it, okay, in four ways. Okay, one is direct like a Azure portal. Okay, one more thing is like a by using Azure PowerShell. Okay, don't worry. Okay, for the folks, okay, who don't know what is PowerShell, okay, we'll discuss about it now. And we can also do by using Azure CLI. Azure CLI is like command line interface, and we can do also with the ARN templates. Okay, ARN templates is nothing but a Azure Resource Manager templates, which are in the form of JSON. Okay, this I will not going to discuss it now. If I discuss it now, okay, you will get scared because I see like most of the folks are from 980 background, and it is kind of looks like some coding. Okay, so primarily we majorly focus on these three ways, like creating the resources. Okay, by using these particular three ways, directly portal. Let's see how can I do it directly using portal. So I can just simply navigate to the portal. If at all if I wanted to create any resource, okay, I can just search it here on the top. For example, if I wanted to create a resource group, base resource group, I can go here and I can just click on add. And for creating a resource group, whatever the requirements, okay, user inputs it is asking for, okay, I can give. For example, okay, this I'll say test resource group, test rg01, and which region you wanted to create it. Okay, based on the region. For example, if you are working for any specific client and your client is from east to us, let us imagine. Okay, you have to create all the resources and resource group in a east to us only. You should not create resources in a different regions. Okay, and if your client is from, your subscription is hosted for the central India, let us imagine, and you have to create all the resources within a central India only. Okay, so try to remember this. Okay, and you can assign some tags if you want, if at all if you wanted. Otherwise, okay, you can just review and create, and I can just click on create. So this one way of creating the resources manually directly via portal, which is very easy. Anybody can do it, right? So, and the second thing is PowerShell. Okay, for the people, okay, who don't know PowerShell, okay, so by default, okay, whenever in your local system also, whenever you type PowerShell, okay, so for the latest Windows 7 and Windows 10 operating systems, okay, this PowerShell will be coming up as a inbuilt uh, like solution. Okay, this is the PowerShell. And PowerShell is kind of object oriented and scripting language. Okay, so if at all if you wanted to automate certain task, okay, so you can use the PowerShell. I'm repeating again. PowerShell is a object oriented scripting language, and it is majorly used for to automating certain task. Okay, for example, here for creating a resource group itself, if I wanted to automate it with a commands, okay, I will be using the PowerShell. And if at all if you wanted to use the PowerShell for the Azure portal, okay, we need to install certain modules. Okay, so since I already have those modules, okay, I request to somebody of you, you can share your screen so that I will guide you. And before I guiding, okay, so let me go through the document here, Azure PowerShell install. If you click on it here, okay, you will be navigated to the Microsoft document, and here you could see, okay, install the Azure AG PowerShell modules. Okay, this is the AG PowerShell module we are going to install. And if you see here, okay, so what are the requirements? Okay, your PowerShell version should be minimum 5.1 or 7. Below that will not be supported. Okay, and if I come down, okay, this is the command, okay, to perform the installation. Okay, this is like an online installation. If you wanted to do offline installation, you can do that also by installing this particular MSA package. So for now, let's see how we can perform the installation. Okay, to perform the installation, at least you should have a PowerShell version of minimum 5.1, and you should also have the .NET framework, that is 4.7 or a later, because these PowerShell modules are built on a .NET framework. Okay, so maybe somebody can share the screen so that I'll guide you, how we can install these particular modules. Any volunteers here? Okay, who has the Windows 10 operating system? Windows 7 it will not support. Anybody? Okay, so let's say, Sandeep, you want to share your screen? Sandeep or Monica, are there anybody? Dixit, Arjun, Siva, Arsuma. Yeah, Siva, go ahead, share your screen. Okay, here, okay, when you open up PowerShell, okay, here you could see the option called share screen. Okay, when you click on this, okay, just you will getting like this. Okay, just share your screen. Yeah, you're already done. Just to minimize it. Yeah, yeah, you're already done. Just minimize this particular PowerShell. Yeah, Skype, yeah. Just minimize this again. So in the below, just type PowerShell. I'll guide you, don't worry. Yeah, wait. Hold on. Yeah, so here you could say, just right click on it. Right click, don't click on open. Right click. Or else you see that run as an administrator option, right? Yeah, run as an administrator. Because whenever you try to install something, right, okay, you should always open a PowerShell as a run as an administrator. Okay, so I think it is not opened as a, yes, it is opened as a run as an administrator. Here you can see on the top of the PowerShell, select administrators. Okay, just maximize this window. I'll tell you, and you can just drag this particular Skype button what you have in the middle of the page. Drag it down. Yeah, great. So now, okay, so as a prerequisite, I told you, right? Okay, we should see the PowerShell version. Okay, to check the PowerShell version, okay, just enter the dollar. Okay, PS capital version VE. No, VE just, yeah, just no, do a tab. Just click on tab. It should be coming autofill. It's not coming. Yeah, okay, it is coming. Okay, so dollar PS version table. Okay, just click on enter. And if you see here, your PowerShell version, PS version, the first one name, okay, it is like a 5.1. Great. Okay, you are meeting the prerequisites, and you can also see the .NET framework. Okay, here in this, okay, it is not getting, but yeah, it will be supported here since you have a 5.1 PowerShell one. Now, if you wanted to install the modules, okay, just type install hyphen module, just hyphen minus. Just give mo and give the tab. It will be auto filled. Have you given the tab? Just give one more D and give the tab. Yeah. So yeah. You can remove the D. I think it is taking a time, some time to load the packages. So remove the D. No, no, no. Just give the tab again and hold on. Yeah. So now we got the command to install hyphen module and give the space, and we are going to install the module that is called AG. Capital A and small Z. G for Z for zebra something. Yeah, correct. Because okay, specific to Azure, okay, we are going to install the module called AG. And in parallel, if somebody wants to try, you can do it from your side. Okay, try to open a PowerShell, as an administrator, and now give the space and minus force like a hyphen FOR, give the tab, it will be coming. No, 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 don't give any space. FOR, give the tab, it will be auto filled. So why I'm doing force means, okay, so it will do the force installation. Yeah, so remove the R. Yeah, that is fine. So this is the command. Okay, so very basic command. Okay, so if at all if you are pretty new to the PowerShell, nothing to panic. Okay, just try to learn, okay, with the basic commands what we are discussing here, and I will also show you the step-by-step document also, don't worry. And here if you see what I'm performing the installing the module. For that, okay, install hyphen module, and the module name is AZ, and I'm just performing the force. That is like I'm just forcing to install it. Okay, just click on enter. And if that particular cursor is blinking in the below the command, that means okay, it is in progress. And if you wanted to see where these particular modules are installing, just go to your directory, go to C directory, click on the directory below. Okay, go to C. Okay, go to your program files, not 86, yeah, program files. And the last, if you come down, come last, and here you could see Windows PowerShell, right? Open it, click on modules. And okay, currently here you don't have any modules are installed related to Azure. Okay, once it is done, open the PowerShell now. Okay, no, come back. I'm saying PowerShell window. Yeah, here it is asking for some validation. Click on yes, that is Y, default is Y. Click on enter. Okay, it is taking the packages, okay, from the repository, and on the top you can see some progress. Okay, so some green window coming, and it will show you the progress, what are all the modules which is installing. And if at all possible, can you open your directory and minimize, keep it as a small size, will monitor parallelly. Exactly, keep, drag it aside, right hand side. And as we progress here, okay, you will be able to see the modules are installing here. Okay, just try to do a refresh on the directory. Maybe no, just to right click. Okay, anything will works. Do refresh, yeah. So it is still not yet started. Once it is started, you will be able to see some modules are installing here. Okay, so based on your internet connectivity, that might take some time. Let's wait for it. Meantime, okay, you can try from your side for others also. First, check the compatibility. Check your PowerShell version by just executing the PS version table. Okay, you have to put the dollar symbol in the beginning, and the PowerShell version should be minimum 5.1, and it will be not supported for the Windows 8 and Windows 7 operating systems, because in Windows 7 and Windows 8 operating system, you will be having the PowerShell version below that 5.1 below. You will be having either PowerShell 4 or PowerShell 2 or 3 versions. So it is taking some time. Let's do refresh once again here. No, just do a refresh. Okay, come to the PowerShell window and just try to do enter here. Let's see what is happening. Yeah. So it might be taking some time, okay, to call out this particular packages. Let's wait for it. So once it is started, okay, you will be able to see the progress on the top window. Okay, like progressing, like coming a separate green color window, and it will show you the progress. I think okay, you connected with a mobile network or a internet, Siva? Wi-Fi only. Okay, no issues. We'll wait for it. Okay, just minimize it. And if you see here, okay, it is started the installation. You can see the window on the top right. Installing the package easy. Okay, package advisory. And now it is started, installing the package. Now we can go to the folder, Siva. And if you do refresh, can you see on the top? You could see some packages are, just expand this particular folder below. Yes, and you will be able to see, folders are creating with the module called ag.ag. Right. So this is what happening. So it is importing all the modules to your local system so that you can you know uh, you can perform all the commands related to PowerShell. Okay, you could see all the modules are importing now. Okay, let us wait for for completion of this particular entire thing. And once it is done, okay, I'll also show you, what are the basic commands, okay, that you need to execute to, if you want, if at all, if you wanted to connect to the portal. And I strongly recommend you to, install these modules, because I want you to practice, along with the portal, PowerShell, and CLI. Okay, this is very, very important. I strongly recommend. And if you see, almost it is done. On the top, can you just drag it below from the window, from the top, just drag it below. Yeah, and you can see the progress. The first line, okay, it is the almost okay at the end. That is zeros it is adding, right? And a first square brackets. So that means okay, we're almost at the end. It is almost installing all the packages which are needed, and it is done. And if you go to this particular directory now, go to the directory, and you can just maximize it. Yeah, it has imported all the modules. Earlier we don't have any modules with a specific to AZ dot, and if you see here, currently we are having all the modules. Okay, good. And make sure that okay, you remember this path. Okay, local C drive, program files, Windows PowerShell, and modules. Okay, if you don't have these modules installed on your local system, you will be not allowed, able to perform the certain actions. Don't worry for the folks, okay, who are using Windows 7. I have a plan B for them. Okay, how we can use the PowerShell commands. Okay, to perform some actions in Azure. I'll tell you now after this. Now go to the PowerShell window, Siva, and click on enter. I think your PowerShell taking some time to give the output. So let's wait for it. So try to do enter one more time if at all possible. Okay, so it might be performing some post deployment activities. So once it is done, okay, you will be able to see that window, and then okay, we'll give you the some basic commands how to connect to the portal and all other stuff. So probably for today, okay, what I can do is, so probably just go through those policies, and sometimes and service provider what discussed, and the support plans. And in addition to that, okay, install these PowerShell modules. I will share you the detailed document also with you. I will share you one PDF file which has the all the default step by step procedures. If it, maybe tomorrow also I will repeat it again once again. So for today, like last time, okay, I have given activity to create a subscription, right? But today, okay, this is the activity for installing the modules. If at all, if you face any issues, please let me know. And make sure that you open the PowerShell as an administrator. If you open a PowerShell normally, you will not able to perform this particular installation. Yeah, Siva, it is done. Just clear your screen, just type CLS and enter. Okay, now by default, okay, so in your local system, okay, we need to check the execution policy first. If it is unrestricted, we will be not able to perform the commands. Okay, just type get hyphen execution policy, exe, type exe and give the tab. Yes, correct. Click on enter. And now if you see, this is restricted. Okay, by default on your local system, okay, your PowerShell execution policy might be restricted. You have to make it as a unrestricted or a remote signed. Okay, to do that, okay, set hyphen exe, give the tab, it will be autofilled. Give the tab, yeah, space. Okay, so since it is restricted, I wanted to make it as unrestricted. Okay, just do un on re, give the tab, it will be autofilled. Yeah. Okay, what I'm doing, I'm just keeping the execution policy as unrestricted. Click on enter. Yes. Why? Make sure that if you no, just give the yes. Y, capital Y. Make sure, if at all, if you wanted to perform all these activities, okay, you have to open the PowerShell as an administrator. Once again, I'm repeating again. So now let's check the get hyphen execution policy. Don't need to type, just type up arrow, it will give the all the commands which you have executed. No, up arrow, like yeah, give one more. Up, one more. Yeah, so okay, when you keep the up arrow, right, okay, it will give you all the commands which you have executed previously. Click on enter. And can you see, now my execution policy is unrestricted. So make sure that, okay, you perform this activity. Now if you wanted to connect to the portal, okay, the command is login hyphen az az. This is the model we have installed, right? Okay, account, just to give ac and give the tab, it will be auto filled. Right, click on enter. So by default, okay, now it will give you the pop-up to log into our portal. So if you have a free trial account, maybe Siva, just to do your login now. Okay, you don't have a free trial account. Okay, so try to create a free trial account, Siva. If you need any help, let me know. And if you go there, you might see some pop-up. Can you see? You are getting a pop-up to log in. Yeah, you have to give your email ID and password so that you will be able to log into the portal. If you don't have a free trial subscription, yeah, let's try it. Yeah, fine. You will be able to do it. Just cancel this operation. I'll tell you. Okay. Uh, Now just enter history. Enter. And now you will be getting whatever the things you have done. Just copy it and put it in a chart. Okay, so that others also perform the same thing. Okay, the first thing what we are doing, first we are performing the PowerShell version, and next thing, okay, we are installing the modules. And you can ignore the third and fourth, that is Y and CLS. And the next thing, okay, so what we are doing, we are checking the execution policy. Yeah, enter. Wait. Okay, let it be. So I thought of to remove that third and fourth, which is not really needed. Just remove third and fourth. No, you are already opened in the below. Yeah, just remove third and fourth, which is not required. Yeah, no. Yes, now just enter. So you have to follow the steps, okay, for performing the installation. First check the PS PowerShell version, and then, okay, so check for the installation, then see the execution policy, set the execution policy as unrestricted, and check maybe last command is wrong, Siva. So login hyphen easy account is the command. So just you can type it here, or else, okay, let me type. Okay, so I want you to guys, okay, to practice till here for tomorrow, and the rest of the things, okay, we'll see from tomorrow. All right, makes sense. So I'll stop it here. You have any questions? Okay, I'll take it as a
This happens only in Windows 10, not in 7, right?
yes, Karthik.
Okay.
Be supported because Windows 10 you will be not having supported version of PowerShell because you
Yes.
should be having 5.1 version of the PowerShell.
Okay.
If at all, if you wanted to perform some activities, okay, definitely I'll help you out. Okay, let's see. Okay, what is the plan? We will see tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.